Hear ye, the court is now in session. Today we have us before the case of the state of California. The question before this court is whether the accused present here today shall be set free or whether the accused will be found guilty and sentenced to imprisonment. The counts against the accused are as follows. Violation of the spirit of the American dream through limited access to a sufficient higher education. Prosecution, are you ready? All right. Defense, are you ready? Prosecution, have you shared all of your written testimony with the defense attorney prior to this point? Defense, have you shared all your written testimony with the prosecution prior to this point?
Yes.
Jury, please stand up and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
to uphold the duties of the jury,
to uphold the duties of a jury,
to remain awake at all times,
to remain awake at all times,
to take copious notes,
to take copious notes,
to listen with an open mind,
to listen with an open mind,
to not discuss the case with any of my fellow jurors or classmates prior to the final jury deliberation.
to not discuss the case
That's
at any
good.
time.
That's good. Okay. So help me, U.S. history.
So help me, U.S. history.
Jury, also please remember that the final verdict will be a majority rule. So however that plays out. Opening statements. Prosecution, representation of the prosecution. You may now make your opening statement.
Okay, Your Honor and ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the state of California is guilty of violating the spirit of the American dream through limited access to sufficient higher education. I'd first like to define access. Access is getting into college. Access is being able to afford it. Evidence will show how the state of California is making it harder for many to access higher education. Well, what is higher education? It's college, the beginning to the rest of our lives, our entrance into the real world. It all seems at arm's reach. As high school students, we're almost there. All of our hard work, studying, and learning is about to pay off. We're one step closer to achieving the American dream. But are we? Well, first, what exactly is the American dream? The witness James Tressel Adams, who coined the phrase the American dream, will show through evidence what the American dream is. His quotes will discuss the problem we are facing today, referring to how every American should have the equal opportunity to greatness even if they are economically disadvantaged. Let me just say that this trial is about the state of California, the place we all call home, making the great education they have to offer nearly inaccessible to us hardworking students and to many other people who wish to receive great education. This is a case on the responsibility of California to provide the best they can to help us meet the standards and achieve the American dream. We are here to represent those hardworking people who are promised many things and are told of opportunity, but even with their long hard work, many of them never get to see it. Today, testimonies will show how college is on the road to being successful. For many, the college process begins long before high school. For some, it even begins in kindergarten. As students, we aren't fully aware until our last year of high school that in order to apply to most colleges, you need to meet the AG requirements. We spent countless hours studying classes we choose, only to find that we can't even apply to our dream schools. The witness, Alejandro Golarte, will show that some high schools don't offer the classes required to meet the AG requirements. Not only do some people not have the correct qualifications to enter a UC or CSU school, but when they do qualify, apply, and get accepted to those schools, the next problem we are encountered with is money. Every day, we see our parents struggle with financial problems in this failing economy. College is just another expensive burden we don't want to drown our parents in.
The evidence will show that in 2011, Governor Jerry Brown proposed a budget plan impacting cuts of $500 million on the UC and CSU schools. Making the tuition price rise due to the current economy, most families cannot afford those rising tuition prices, meaning they are limited to receiving a sufficient higher education that they want and deserve. If universities continue to struggle with budget cuts, less and less money will be given to students for scholarships. When students can't afford college, they lose the opportunity to go. Sure, there are loans and grants available, but what happens to families that don't receive them? Due to them not being able to afford college, the college they want, they end up going to community college. But there is also the people that do get accepted with those scholarships, loans, and grants. The evidence will show that college graduates leave college in large amounts of debt. You are probably wondering, well, if people don't want/can't pay large amounts of money and end up in debt, can't they just go to community college? Well, yes, they could. The evidence will show that the budget cuts have also taken place in community colleges. And not only do budget cuts affect schools, but they affect everyone in the system. The evidence will show that due to the budget cuts, classes have been cut, therefore limiting access to get the classes necessary to receive the education necessary to graduate and continuing to achieve the American dream. Since students cannot take the necessary classes, they are forced to stay in school longer, making them pay more than they had originally planned. Some students decide to enter community college hoping that in 2 years they can transfer to a 4-year college. The program TAG was a bridge to the 4-year colleges. The evidence will show that the program TAG has been cut and will continue to cut several colleges, limiting access to many students who attend community college that want to go to the UC and CSU colleges. Your Honor and ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I would like to remind you that we are here due to the state of California limiting our access to higher education. The state of California is making it hard. And our generation and generations to come to get that college education we deserve. They're making it almost impossible to achieve the American dream.
Representation of defense, you may now make your opening statement, or you may choose to make your opening statement at the conclusion of the prosecution's final witness. How do you wish to proceed?
I'll proceed now. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, today we will explain why California does not violate the spirit of the American dream. While California is on trial for supposedly violating the spirit of the American dream through limited access to a sufficient higher education, we will explain why this is false. Our witnesses will help you to better understand why California's access to higher education allows many to make their way to success and prosperity. One of the witnesses from the prosecution today is James Treslow Adams. We are glad to see the man who coined the phrase the American dream with us today. In Adams' famous quote about our American dream, he states that the American dream is that dream of a land in which life should be better and richer and fuller for everyone, with opportunity for each according to ability or achievement. He continues on, stating that this is a dream of social order in which each man and each woman shall be able to attain the fullest stature of which they are innately capable and be recognized by others for what they are, regardless of the fortuitous circumstances of birth or position. By acknowledging this diversity of citizens in our country, California included, we hope that you see Adams must understand that colleges have become so much more diverse over the years from when they began. Diversity in California colleges is one of the many arguments that our witnesses will help to explain throughout the trial. The American dream is the opportunity to succeed and be prosperous by hard work, and in most cases, this does include getting a degree from a higher education. With a variety of educational needs, it is necessary that California provides a wide range of access to higher education, depending on these various needs and expectations on accessibility to these different options. This idea of sufficiency with higher education simply means that your education should be able to lead you to an occupation that gives you the opportunity to be successful as an individual. It shows that community colleges within 15 miles of each highly populated town or city gives broad and universal access to higher education, and this is indeed sufficient and accessible in California. These community colleges do not only bring opportunity for students to eventually transfer to UCs and CSUs, but they also make aspirations and occupations realistic. Good examples of occupations of these occupations include the majority of the workforce of firefighters and a good portion of nurses as well, all of which can earn degrees and achieve their dreams locally through accessible community colleges. Our standard of the American dream often includes things like social mobility and home ownership. While a lot of this does depend on our education, finding the American dream also relies heavily on the economy as a whole. California has so many different opportunities for access to higher education. The variety of opportunities are available in order to make access universal to the great diversity we find in California. from veterans to students with study financial aid. We are happy to share the successes of California community colleges and their qualification as a higher education that is indeed sufficient. The evidence will show that 28% of UC Berkeley's student body includes transfers from community colleges. In addition to this, we willingly bring forward other programs and opportunities for accessible college plans, such as financial aid, scholarship programs, the UC School Regency, and the California Master Plan. The California Master Plan does include funding for the community college system, the UC system, and the CSU system. Depending on a citizen's aspiration for education, whether it be community college or graduating from UC or CSU, where there is a will, there is a way. Throughout this trial, we hope that you will consider the following. Consider what kind of opportunities are available for all kinds of backgrounds and situations. Consider the variety of educational needs throughout California and the variety of outstanding educational institutions accessible in California. Most importantly, we ask that you consider this idea of sufficient higher education. When doing so, we ask that you keep in mind the words broad and universal to define the sufficiency of higher education. These words show us that sufficiency is defined by the broad range of access throughout California and the universal aspect of higher education that we need for a variety of hardworking students and their educational needs.